For more than a millennium, silver has played a central role in China's economy, culture, and global trade. From the rise of maritime commerce across the Indian Ocean to the massive silver inflows during the early modern era, the story of silver in China reflects broader, global patterns of wealth, power, and exchange. Even today, in the 21st century, silver retains a meaningful, if changed, position in Chinese society and global markets. China's association with silver dates back thousands of years. During the Shang dynasty circa 1600 to 1046 BCE and the Zhou dynasty circa 1046 to 256 BCE, silver was known but used sparingly, mostly for ornamental or ceremonial purposes. Gold was often preferred among elites, but as mining techniques improved, silver became more accessible, and its use expanded. In the Han Dynasty, 206 BCE to 220 CE, silver was already being used for coinage and trade. However, it was not yet the backbone of the economy. China operated mainly on a copper-based monetary system for centuries. Still, silver remained a luxury commodity, valued in elite burial goods and ritual objects. By the Tang, 618 to 907 CE, and especially Song, 960 to 1279 CEE, dynasties, Chinese merchants increasingly participated in the booming maritime trade that stretched across the Indian Ocean. This oceanic network connected ports from China and Southeast Asia to India, Arabia, and the Swahili coast of Africa. China exported porcelain, silk, tea, and later paper and gunpowder. In return, Chinese merchants acquired spices, precious stones, hardwoods, and silver. While inland trade routes like the Silk Road remained important, maritime trade surged due to advances in shipbuilding, especially China's development of large seafaring junks and navigational knowledge. Silver was not yet the most traded item, but it flowed into China through indirect routes. Indian and Arab traders brought Central Asian and even European silver into Indian Ocean ports, and some of that found its way into southern China, especially during the Song dynasty's commercial revolution. A major turning point in China's relationship with silver came during the Ming dynasty, 1368 to 1644. In 1430, under the reign of the Yongle Emperor, the Chinese government abolished paper currency due to rampant inflation and turned to silver as the de facto medium of exchange. By the mid-16th century, silver had replaced copper as the basis of the Chinese economy. But China did not mine enough silver to support this shift on its own. It began to import vast quantities of the metal from abroad, including from Japan, and increasingly from the Americas via Spanish trade networks. Through the Manila galleon trade, silver from mines in Potosi in modern Bolivia and Mexico made its way to Manila in the Philippines, and from there to Chinese ports like Quanzhou and Guangzhou. Today, silver is no longer a national currency in China, but it plays a significant role in manufacturing, investment, and culture. China is now the world's largest consumer and producer of silver. Silver is vital in electronics, solar panels, and medical technologies. The Chinese government's push toward renewable energy, especially solar power, has boosted domestic demand for silver as a component in photovoltaic cells. Thus, silver is tied to China's green technology future.
Join us as we explore the incredible journey of the Chinese people, an enduring civilization whose resilience, innovation, and wisdom have shaped the world for thousands of years. Through their story, we gain a deeper appreciation for the profound impact the Chinese people have had on humanity throughout history and in modern times. During the Xia dynasty, circa 2070 to 1600 BCE, the Chinese established early forms of agriculture, bronze working, and developed a centralized government. While the Shang dynasty, around 1600 to 1046 BCE, were the first confirmed Chinese dynasty with archaeological evidence, they developed writing, oracle bone script, bronze casting, and a complex religious system. The Zhou dynasty from 1046 to 256 BCE was the longest-lasting dynasty in Chinese history. This dynasty introduced the Mandate of Heaven, which is a Chinese political ideology used to legitimize rulers in ancient and imperial China. It claims heaven grants its mandate to a virtuous ruler whose authority depends on wise and just governance. The ancient Chinese introduced their feudal system. This was a hierarchical structure of land ownership and political power that was designed to maintain control over a large territory. It was somewhat similar to the feudal system in medieval Europe, but with its own unique Chinese characteristics. During the Qin dynasty, 221 to 206 BCE, the Chinese developed the first unified Chinese empire. They also introduced standardized weights, measures, currency, and writing. During this time, the Chinese built large sections of what would become the Great Wall, were ruled by Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor. The Han Dynasty, 206 BCE to 220 BCE, is considered a golden age of Chinese culture, science, and technology. During this time, the Chinese developed the Silk Road and elevated the Confucian state. It also integrated philosophy, introduced papermaking, and a professional bureaucracy. The development of paper revolutionized record keeping, education, and communication. When the Chinese developed printing during the Tang Song dynasty, they enabled mass production of books and knowledge dissemination. The Chinese also provided humanity with the compass that is used for navigation and global exploration, as well as gunpowder, which transformed warfare and fireworks. Their silk production stimulated trade and cultural exchange via the Silk Road as they traded porcelain, a major art and trade product known globally as China. The Chinese cultivated tea, which became a worldwide beverage with cultural and health significance, as well as acupuncture and traditional medicine. They influenced global holistic and alternative medical practices. Let's briefly review the influence of the ancient Silk Road in China's current economic and trade dominance. The Silk Road was not a single road, but a network of trade routes connecting China to Central Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. China exported silk, tea, porcelain, and pepper, and imported horses, spices, glassware, and precious metals. These exchanges weren't just economic. They included ideas, religions, technology, and culture, making China both a global participant and influencer. The Silk Road helped develop merchant culture and logistics, trade diplomacy, and long-distance planning. It also designed infrastructure, thinking like caravans, roads, and canals. Clearly, the mindset and systems of trade were seeded centuries ago and deeply embedded in Chinese civilization, which adds to their success as a trading nation in 2025. In 1912, the same year that the Titanic crashed into the iceberg, the fall of Imperial China crashed history. This marked the end of dynasty rule as it promoted instability and decades of war. Trade and industrial development slowed under warlords, civil war, and occupation. In 1949, the People's Republic of China was founded under Mao Zedong. The economy was centrally planned. Private trade and enterprise were abolished. Major campaigns like the Great Leap Forward and Cultural Revolution damaged economic productivity and international trade. But in 1978, China reformed and opened under Deng Xiaoping. It was a major game changer and the most influential event in China's modern trade and economic history. Deng Xiaoping was a Chinese revolutionary and statesman who became the paramount leader of China from 1978 to the early 1990s. Though Xiaoping was never officially president or general secretary, he held immense influence as the head of the Communist Party's reform wing. After surviving political purges during Mao Zedong's era, Deng Xiaoping rose to power and launched the reform and opening up policies in 1978. These reforms shifted China from a rigid, centrally planned economy to a more market-oriented, globally integrated system and ushered in decades of unprecedented economic growth. His famous phrase, "It doesn't matter whether a cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice," symbolized his pragmatic approach to economics over ideology. China's key reforms included open China to foreign investment and establish special economic zones, SEZs, like in Shenzhen. It also encouraged private enterprise and global trade and shifted from a command economy to socialism with Chinese characteristics. This jump-started massive industrialization, export-led growth, and lifted hundreds of millions out of poverty. In 2001, China joined the World Trade Organization, signaling deep integration into the global economy. It became the world's factory as it dominated exports of electronics, textiles, and machinery. The Belt and Road Initiative of 2013 to present is seen as a modern revival of the Silk Road. It includes massive infrastructure and trade investment across Asia, Europe, and Africa. The initiative aims to strengthen China's global trade connections and influence. Finally, China's ancient roots in trade from the Silk Road shaped China's cultural and strategic thinking. But modern trade success came mostly from reform policies in 1978, WTO integration, and state-led globalization efforts. China went from an inward-looking agrarian state to a global economic superpower in just a few decades, arguably the most dramatic economic transformation in modern history. During the creation of this video, China and the USA were in a stiff trade war over tariffs in April 2025. It will be interesting to see if the descendants of the ancient Silk Road will prevail over the still young USA, founded in 776, when it comes to global trade agreements. Please leave your comments below and thank you for supporting this channel.